If someone gives you a challenge worth $100,000, do you dare to eat a fly? This sounds like a windfall from heaven. But you know, this is just the mildest first challenge in the movie 13 Sins. The subsequent 12 challenges are the true abyss that overturns one's worldview. Our protagonist, Elliot Brindle, faces a catastrophic start. His mother passes away when he is young. At 32 years old, he is inexplicably fired by his boss. He completely loses his main source of income. He needs to prepare for his wedding with his girlfriend, repay car loans and mortgage, and also bear the medical expenses for his intellectually disabled younger brother, Michael Brindle, and the living expenses for his aging father. His family's finances are on the verge of collapse. What is worse, his father is cold towards him, always demanding money or criticizing him. Such a family relationship makes him feel no warmth or support. However, until this early morning, something happens that he believes can change his destiny. At this moment, Elliot Brindle is waiting at a traffic light. Just then, his phone suddenly rings. He wonders who is calling so late. Elliot Brindle answers the phone. The caller congratulates Elliot Brindle, telling him he has won the grand prize of $10 million. Elliot Brindle says he did not buy a lottery ticket and believes they have the wrong person. The caller insists it is Elliot Brindle, stating he is 32 years old, lost his mother in childhood, carries heavy burdens, is deep in debt, faces strong pressure, has an approaching wedding, and no job. The caller then asks if this is his current situation. Elliot Brindle is shocked and angrily asks who the caller is. He asks how the caller knows his family situation so well. Immediately after, the caller continues, asking if Elliot Brindle is currently waiting at a traffic light and if there is a fly inside his car. Elliot Brindle fearfully turns his head and looks around. The quiet road is empty. He wonders where the caller is. Immediately after, the caller speaks again. It is very simple to get $10 million. He just needs to pass 13 difficult challenges. You can try. The first challenge is very simple. Use the newspaper on the ground to kill that fly. You can then get $10,000. Elliot Brindle looks. So simple. Isn't this an easy task? So he takes a chance and kills the fly. The next second, a text message suddenly arrives on his phone, confirming that $10,000 is deposited into his bank account. Elliot Brindle is shocked that they actually pay him. Immediately after, the caller phones him again, asking if he wants to continue by eating the fly, and offers him $100,000. After speaking, the caller hangs up. After returning home, Elliot Brindle opens his computer. He takes a look and sees there is indeed an additional $10,000 in his account. It seems to be truly real. Then Elliot Brindle takes out the dead fly wrapped in tissue paper. He then puts it into his mouth, considering it a protein supplement. After swallowing it, his phone rings again. $100,000 is deposited. The game master then calls Elliot Brindle again. He congratulates Elliot Brindle on completing the second game challenge. He asks if Elliot Brindle wants to continue, as there are 11 more games. He explains that if Elliot Brindle continues, the prize money will be even more. The rules are simple. First, Elliot Brindle must not obstruct the game's source. Second, he must not let others know he is playing the game. Under these two conditions, if Elliot Brindle completes the remaining 11 games within the stipulated 36 hours, he can receive $10 million. The game master also warns that if Elliot Brindle fails any one challenge or gives up halfway, he loses everything, and all the prize money is gone. He asks if Elliot Brindle wants to continue or quit while he is ahead. He tells Elliot Brindle to seize this opportunity to change his fate. Whether he can get rich overnight and turn his life around depends on him. Faced with the temptation of the huge prize money, Elliot Brindle feels a pull. After all, he is already in a desperate financial situation. Elliot Brindle quickly tells the game master to continue. The game master then responds. The game master says okay, wait for him to contact him tomorrow morning. Elliot Brindle's girlfriend is also woken up, seeing him acting strangely and always hiding from her, which leaves her completely confused. Elliot Brindle explains that he prepares a surprise for her and will tell her about it later, urging her to go to sleep quickly. The next morning, Elliot Brindle and his girlfriend's parents eat breakfast together in the park. At this moment, Elliot Brindle is extremely anxious, wondering why the game master has not contacted him yet. Just as he worries, the game master calls him and tells him the general content of the third challenge. The first one involves a child, and after completing it, there will be a $300,000 reward. Elliot Brindle is completely bewildered, asking what kind of challenge this is. The voice/the game master says okay, tells him not to say anything else, gives him a 10-minute time limit, and urges him to do it quickly. His girlfriend sees Elliot Brindle on the phone and not returning, so she asks him what is wrong. Elliot Brindle finds an excuse, saying he needs to go to the restroom, but in reality, he is looking for a target. Soon, he spots a little girl heading to the restroom. He walks up to the little girl and tells her. He tells her he is the director of an orphanage. He says her parents no longer want her and are sending her to them. He adds that they did not tell her because they were afraid she would cry and be sad. The little girl believes him and truly thinks her mother does not want her anymore. Then, with a runny nose, she cries and goes to find her mother. Just like that, the third challenge is completed. After dinner, Elliot Brindle and his girlfriend, as usual, go to the church to pray. At this moment, the game master calls, telling Elliot Brindle how to complete the fourth challenge. The game master instructs him to take the handmade craft in front of him and burn it. The reward is $350,000. Elliot Brindle listens and asks if the game master is serious. He thinks this is not a challenge but purely vandalism. But for the money, Elliot Brindle still complies. He finds a secluded spot and sets the handmade craft on fire. After the prize money arrives, Elliot Brindle immediately starts putting out the fire. Honestly, he tries to put out the fire with a broom, but he only fans the flames, directly spreading the fire into the church. Elliot Brindle realizes this is bad, wondering what to do, and decides to use a fire extinguisher. However, the fire extinguisher in the church does not work at all, and the fire continues to rage. Elliot Brindle has no other choice but to activate the fire alarm and flee. Now he has become an arsonist. After leaving the church, the game master calls, informing Elliot Brindle about the fifth challenge. The challenge is worth $400,000 and requires him to steal the clothes of the homeless man in front of him. Now he has become a thief. Afterwards, Elliot Brindle tells his girlfriend that he has something to do and is leaving. His girlfriend is confused by Elliot Brindle's series of abnormal behaviors. Elliot Brindle tells her not to worry, saying she will know what he is doing later. As the saying goes, success comes from secrecy. Before the matter succeeds, he must not tell others. Of course, if he tells someone, then his money will be gone. Meanwhile, the police also receive many reports. Elliot Brindle steals clothes, bullies children, and sets fires. The police then begin to hunt him down. Returning to Elliot Brindle, he arrives at a rather dilapidated house. He has already completed the task of stealing clothes and now starts the sixth challenge. The sixth challenge offers $450,000. The voice/the game master says a homeless man lives in this dilapidated house. He instructs Elliot Brindle to take him to a coffee shop for a cup of coffee, within 1 hour. Elliot Brindle hears this and thinks it is finally a legitimate challenge. He goes upstairs, opens the door, and is terrified by what he sees. The homeless man has been dead for several days. This is terrible, carrying a dead body to a coffee shop. That is pure revenge on society. The further the challenges progress, the more they violate ethics and morality, and the more they involve illegal activities. Elliot Brindle then calls the game master, asking if he really has to carry a dead body. The game master confirms, stating that Elliot did not kill the man, so he should not be afraid because it was a suicide. He tells Elliot that time is pressing, so he needs to go quickly. He warns that it will be troublesome once the coffee shop gets crowded. However, Elliot Brindle wavers. Taking a dead person to a coffee shop as if they are alive is not only absurd, but it also involves disrespect for the deceased and could be illegal. Elliot Brindle's inner conscience and normal values make him feel resistant and uneasy about this. The game master then asks if he does not want the money and if he does not want to change his financial situation. He reminds Elliot that it is already the sixth challenge, and if he gives up now, he will not get the money and will be left with a criminal record. The police are already looking for him. With no other choice, Elliot Brindle has to comply for the money. He pushes the homeless man to the coffee shop. Fortunately, there are not many people in the coffee shop. But the bad thing is, he wasted a lot of time arguing with the game master, and almost 1 hour is up. There is no other way, he can only ask the waiter to make the coffee quickly. But next, something even worse happens. A group of police officers enters. At this moment, a male waiter walks over. He is quite observant and serves coffee to the arriving police officers first. Elliot Brindle is extremely anxious at this moment, because there is less than 1 minute left until the 1 hour deadline. Having no other choice, he snatches a police officer's coffee and places it on his own table. The police officer sees this and asks him what is wrong. He asks what is wrong with him. He just snatches the coffee. Does he want to wear handcuffs? Facing the police officer's challenge, Elliot Brindle quickly finds something to use against him. He immediately determines that the iron pot contains alcohol. He says the officer must be new. He does not know that police officers cannot drink alcohol while on duty. Violating discipline may lead to punishment. Perhaps he is new. All right. He can have the coffee. I am not drinking it. Elliot Brindle speaks eloquently, bluffing the police, and then makes a quick getaway. After this challenge, his mindset changes. He no longer resists these absurd, immoral, and even illegal challenges as he did before. He has gradually accepted them. He even proactively calls the game master, telling him that the mission is successfully completed. He asks if the game master saw how cool he was just now. The game master also adapts to the situation, stating that he wants to reward Elliot Brindle for his recent actions. He suggests skipping the 7th challenge and directly moving to the 8th. He adds that Elliot Brindle is the coolest man among all the game participants. Elliot wonders what that means, realizing there are other participants. Soon, Elliot Brindle gets on a bus, preparing for the 8th challenge. The subsequent challenges become increasingly shocking and morally outrageous. It is no longer just about illegal activities or crimes. The game master then reassures Elliot Brindle, telling him that he already has many charges against him. These charges are enough to sentence him to life imprisonment. However, he does not need to worry. After completing this level, the voice can help him escape legal punishment. At the same time, the voice also tells Elliot Brindle the consequences of giving up halfway. He extinguishes his resolve, and ends up with a body full of crimes. Soon, Elliot Brindle arrives at the location, a small motel. Who would have thought that here? He encounters the school bully who often bullied him as a child. It is truly a small world, and his 8th level task happens to be about the school bully. That is to saw off the school bully's right hand. Elliot Brindle shudders in fear upon hearing this, wondering how to saw it off. The voice says there is no problem, and the school bully will definitely let him saw it off voluntarily. He tells Elliot Brindle to ask him if he does not believe it. Elliot Brindle asks the school bully if he does not want his right hand. The school bully says yes, and states he will give Elliot Brindle money. The reason the school bully does this is very simple. He also participates in that challenge game, and the current level's problem is, the task is to find someone to saw off his right hand. Seeing the bully's actions, Elliot Brindle no longer hesitates. He puts on a mask, starts the chainsaw, and begins sawing. Finally, the hand is sawed off. The bully is sent to the hospital. On the way, he also meets the bully's older brother. Seeing the older brother, Elliot Brindle gets angry, wondering how he used to manage his younger brother Michael Brindle. After that, he immediately beats up the bully's older brother. This 8th challenge is completed, and today also happens to be his engagement party with his girlfriend. Elliot Brindle quickly tidies himself up. He arrives at the banquet hall. Immediately after, the game master calls again. He tells Elliot Brindle to prepare for the 10th challenge. They directly move to the 10th challenge. Elliot Brindle looks confused. The game master explains that the 9th challenge was to beat up the bully's older brother. He says Elliot has already completed it. He tells him to prepare for the 10th challenge. That is, when he is called onto the stage to give a toast. He suddenly starts smashing things, including all the glass and ceramic items at the banquet. Elliot to smash anything that can be broken, such as glass or ceramic items, and then to urinate in the flow bed. Elliot Brindle expresses his discomfort, saying that this is not a good idea. The game master retorts, asking if he wants to give up again. He reminds Elliot of the $1 million at stake and all the time and effort he has already invested, telling him not to worry about his girlfriend getting angry, as he can buy her many gifts to appease her once he gets the money. Hearing this, Elliot Brindle decides he cannot give up and let all his efforts be in vain. Later, as he stands up to prepare for his speech, an unexpected event occurs. The police suddenly arrive. However, it is only a false alarm. They are looking for his younger brother, Michael Brindle, who has committed a wrongdoing. Michael Brindle has behaved inappropriately towards a little girl in the park. Elliot Brindle is bewildered and asks Michael Brindle what he is doing, noting that he usually seems so gentle. Michael Brindle replies that despite wearing glasses, he is not gentle at all. He is the outwardly reserved but inwardly passionate type. In fact, Michael Brindle also participates in that game. Elliot Brindle, on the other hand, still does not know. At this moment, Elliot Brindle acts resourcefully and begins to create chaos and destruction. This way, he can delay Michael Brindle's escape and complete his 10th challenge. His girlfriend's situation also becomes explainable. After doing all this, Elliot Brindle picks up a dinner fork. He successfully escapes by threatening suicide. Then he calls the game master. He tells him that the 10th challenge is completed. He asks him to prepare for the 11th challenge. The game master says the 11th challenge is very simple. He tells him to open the door and voluntarily surrender to the police. Elliot Brindle hears this and looks confused. If he surrenders and gets arrested and sentenced, he wonders how he can complete the remaining 2 challenges. The game master tells Elliot Brindle, Game master believes he can do it, just like he handled the situation at the coffee shop last time, and he can handle this level. After speaking, the game master hangs up the phone. To clear the level, Elliot Brindle has no choice but to open the blocked door. The scene shifts. He is taken to the police station, facing multiple charges, including arson, assault, and desecration of a corpse. Brindle's response is that these actions were committed during a period of mental instability, driven mad by leading to a mental breakdown. A police officer sees that Elliot Brindle is quite good at finding excuses, and they are temporarily unable to do anything about him, so they can only report it to their superior, Detective Chilco. During this time, Elliot Brindle starts to figure out how to escape again. He rips a metal rod from a chair, and, when the police officer enters again, he takes him hostage, snatches the gun from his hand, and tells him no to act rashly, or he will shoot him dead. As he speaks, Elliot Brindle casually grabs a cell phone, takes the police officer, and hides in a room. Then he calls Game Master. He asks the Game Master if this is the content of the 12th challenge. The Game Master says no, he should escape first. At this moment, the bald police officer tries to ambush Elliot Brindle. Unexpectedly, Elliot Brindle injures his foot instead. Meanwhile, the police outside are also about to enter. Elliot Brindle can only escape by jumping out the window. Afterward, he runs onto the street. He casually snatches a passerby's phone, but when he tries to call the Game Master, the Game Master does not answer. Elliot Brindle is very anxious. The Game Master does not tell him the content of the 12th challenge. Just then, a woman walks up behind him. Late at night, a woman suddenly appears. Elliot Brindle finds it very strange. He asks her if she is a game staff member and what the 12th challenge is. The woman says she knows nothing and just wants to go home, but her legs are not convenient, so she pleads with Elliot Brindle to help her home. Although the woman shows no abnormalities, Elliot Brindle still suspects she is a game staff member. He helps her home, thinking he might be able to get some information from her. So, Elliot Brindle helps her back home. After entering the house, Elliot Brindle tells her to tell him everything she knows. The woman says she truly knows nothing. She does not even understand what he is talking about. She is just an ordinary citizen. Seeing that he cannot get any information from her, he leaves. However, before Elliot Brindle leaves, the woman asks him for a favor. The clothesline has fallen. She asks him to tie it for her. She explains that she is not strong enough to pull it. Out of kindness, Elliot Brindle helps her tie it. After he finishes, his phone rings, and $1 million is deposited into his account. Elliot Brindle wonders if the 12th challenge is really this simple. Actually, the woman is also participating in the game. Her challenge is to find someone to help her tie the clothesline. This rope stretches across the entire road. Just then, a team of the biker gang drives forward. Elliot Brindle realizes it is over for them. Otherwise, the bikers meet a horrific, inescapable doom. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Elliot Brindle pulls out the iron rod that holds the rope. He helps pull the biker gang from the hands of death. The scene then shifts to the biker gang. It turns out they are also playing the game. They have already passed the first level and received $1,000. Next, they arrive at the second level. The speed is 120 kilometers per hour. And they travel 1 kilometer. Immediately after, Elliot Brindle discovers there is another person not far away. This person is likely also a participant in the game. He is also tying a steel wire rope across the road. no one is spared. And just then, the phone in his bag rings. It is the game master calling. He tells Elliot Brindle that he is now a millionaire. He is only one step away from becoming a $10 million millionaire. Looking at the bodies all over the ground, Elliot Brindle completely collapses. Because his actions have already led to the deaths of many innocent people, he slams his phone to the ground, indicating that he is quitting the game and going home. Elliot Brindle then arrives at the bus stop, preparing to take a bus home. But just then, he hears a familiar sound. Apparently, there is another game participant here, and he only has one last challenge left. Soon, Elliot Brindle spots the person. Upon seeing Elliot Brindle, the person immediately starts to run. Both of them run into a warehouse. The person then drives away. Elliot Brindle follows closely behind. What Elliot Brindle does not expect is that the person parks the car directly in front of his own house. Elliot Brindle walks into the house. He quickly searches around. He finds nothing unusual. Just then, the door to Michael Brindle's room suddenly opens. Michael Brindle walks out. It goes without saying that Michael Brindle is also playing the game. Elliot Brindle then asks him, "What is the 13th challenge?" Michael Brindle honestly says it is to personally kill a family member. Clearly, this final challenge forces a choice between family affection and money. As for Michael Brindle, he wants to kill Mr. Brindle. Elliot Brindle advises Michael Brindle that although their Mr. Brindle is somewhat unkind to them, they cannot kill him for money. But at this moment, Mr. Brindle suddenly speaks. What they do not expect is that Mr. Brindle also played this game when he was young, and their mother's death was caused by him to clear the game. After he gets that money, the father starts to squander it and finally spends it all. If he had saved some back then, Elliot Brindle would not be in such a difficult situation. After hearing what the father says, the two brothers are heartbroken, especially Elliot Brindle. It turns out that all these years, he cares for not a helpless elderly father, but a cold-blooded killer who can personally kill his wife for money. If it were not for the father's greed, he would not repeat the father's mistakes. Elliot Brindle tells Michael Brindle to go back to his room, stating that it is not suitable for children and he should no watch. Meanwhile, the father, seeing his sins exposed and unable to bear the pangs of conscience and the backlash from H family, chooses to commit suicide. He believes it is better to end his own life and be done with it, rather than being killed by his sons and enduring endless accusations. After the father's death, neither of the two brothers chooses to give up the final round. Instead, their father's death intensifies their respective obsessions, pushing this game of family for money completely into despair. Michael Brindle then turns his target towards his older brother. O.T. Brindle, on the other hand, falls into a desperate situation where he must either kill Michael Brindle or be killed by Michael Brindle. Giving up means facing death. On the other hand, he had already been burdened with multiple charges such as arson and child endangerment. The game organizers had promised that all charges would be dropped if he completed the game. Even after his father's death, he still holds on to the final fantasy of being able to clear his name and give his fiancée an explanation by completing the task. However, what he does not expect is that Michael Brindle unexpectedly launches an attack. Out of self-defense, Elliot Brindle injures Michael Brindle. At this moment, he fully awakens. He realizes that this game is a ruthless trampling of humanity. It exploits the participants' desperation and desires, pushing them into a moral abyss and forcing them to commit acts against their conscience. However, Michael Brindle, due to his cognitive impairment and bias, coupled with the temptation of money, still tried to kill his older brother after being injured, stabbing him twice, but none of the blows hit a vital spot. Ultimately, Michael met a devastating end in the struggle. Then, his phone rings. $10 million is deposited into his account. For him, this money is not a reward for victory. Instead, it is a blood-stained shackles earned with the life of a loved one, every cent permeated with sin and rigor. Afterward, he leaves his home, dragging his injured body. After he leaves, Detective Chilcote arrives at the police station. He holds a stack of evidence detailing Elliot Brindle's crimes. He prepares to burn all the evidence to clear Elliot Brindle's charges. Clearly, a vast organization operates behind this game world. The game's organization is clearly vast, and they have people within the police force. But what Dr. Chilcote does not expect is Elliot Brindle's return. Dr. Chilcote tells him that he has completed the game and has cleared his charges, so he does not need to return. He adds that killing him is useless because he is just a subordinate working for others. However, Elliot Brindle disregards this, as he now utterly despises the game. He feels compelled to eliminate a known member of the game's organization as an act of retribution, determined to make them pay the price. Elliot Brindle delivers a lethal retribution to Dr. Chilcote. As Dr. Chilcote falls, his prize money is completely cleared because he obstructed the game's source. The scene shifts to morning, and Elliot Brindle calls his wife. He reassures his wife, telling her he is out of the police station. He states he is coming home now. His wife says that is fine. She adds that someone just called her, telling her to eat a fly for money. Elliot Brindle looks shocked after hearing this. Immediately after, his wife says it is simply too absurd. His wife says she did not do it and immediately hangs up. After hearing this, Elliot Brindle breathes a sigh of relief. He cannot let his wife repeat his mistakes. The tragedy cannot happen again. The movie basically ends here. This movie is adapted from the Thai version of 13 Beloved. Both movies basically use 13 game challenges to deeply explore themes such as human nature, desire, morality, and survival. Under the temptation of money, the protagonist gradually loses himself. He stops at nothing to win the prize money. This reveals the complexity and fragility of human nature in extreme situations. It also warns people to uphold moral bottom lines and cherish life.